Good things must come to an end, and the undefeated streak for the Philadelphia Union in MLS action has come to an end, but maybe take some pressure off for the squad. We will see. Welcome to PHOI Union Podcast. Tyler Zulli, JP Zapata, myself, Renee Washington. We're going to have Niko Moreno on joining us later to preview the matchup against the Seattle Sounders Tuesday. And with that, the Union now have their winning streak come to an end as they fall to RSL this past weekend, or fell to RSL this past weekend, 2-1. I hate to say I was correct because I predicted 2-1, but I predicted a 2-1 victory for the Union. I thought I made that explicitly clear when we were giving out our predictions in our preview show. You and Hayden Nielsen, our guest from RSL, both predicted ties, and I thought we were going to have a 2-1 game. I literally explicitly stated it's going to be 2-1. The Union are going to score a late goal. It's going to be somebody that's not your usual goal scorer, maybe like a defender or something. And I was like, right, down to a T, minus the fact I said it was going to be the Union winning. But either way, with that, the Union still are in the midst of things. Of course, now with that 3-4-1 record that they have in the 8 matches played, they are sitting at that 7th spot in the East. Of course, it's still so early. But JP, were you at all surprised, frustrated? What were your initial reactions from the game?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was genuinely surprised. Obviously, it sucks. Like the way you lose like to a banger goal, and like with like 88th minute, like that definitely does suck. But no, we'll talk more into it when we get into this match. But look, RSL's a team. It's up and coming. Like I look at the Union back in like 2019, or even like look at the Union in 2022. You walk into Portland, it's a place where you typically struggle in, and RSL. Really, like for RSL, this was a much more important match than the Philadelphia Union because if you're RSL, you're trying to fight for Western Conference supremacy. You want to go into Chester, Pennsylvania, where the Union have been a dominant team in the Eastern Conference over the past couple of years, and you want to not just get a point, you want to get all 3 of those points. So those guys rose to the occasion. They found the last bit of magic that they could at the end of it. And Renee, I hate to bring it to this, but I opened it up this morning on Cuz's show. Listen, Blitzer and Harris ownership group, I am sick and tired of these guys. These guys invested money in RSL. They come to Chester, Pennsylvania, get the 3 points, and then their basketball team allows a New York team to take over. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, Dan, nice to have you here in the chat. Dan? As you guys are jumping in, let us know your thoughts from the weekend. We're going to deep dive it a lot more than this. Oh, my God. For sure. But I know Dan's mentioning yet another match in which the Union effectively took the first half off. Tons of possession, nothing to show for it. Yeah, we're going to absolutely get into more specifically about the game. But today, actually, we did get some specifics that broke around the Union as they also made a move. Listen, the Union have been, we've got a major signing for a midfielder. That's right. Breaking news that came out this morning. 18-year-old David Vasquez has signed with the Philadelphia Union as a homegrown. He's played, of course, with the Union too. He's played with the U.S. Youth National Team. And the team did announce today that they're going to sign the midfielder as a homegrown player through 2027 with an option for 2028. And he had already previously the Union had already previously acquired Vasquez's homegrown priority from LAFC and the LA Galaxy. And I know Ernst Tanner was saying how highly intelligent David is. He's versatile. And how during his time with the Academy and Union 2, he's shown how skillful he can be with the ball at his feet and his ability to be advantageous in the transition on the attack. So hopefully he's another great example of how the Union are committed to developing the young talent and helping them rise through the ranks to be able to excel in the pros. But with that, I mean, exciting, I guess. We also talked, I guess we just got to be more specific, JP, because we also spoke last week as we were getting exactly a week ago, talking about the trade deadline, and what we would want to see is more versatility and a midfield piece and someone that can help in the attack.
Yeah.
Now, we also were saying it should be somebody that was a little like a veteran. I guess that part got left out. But Vasquez is versatility. I know, Dan, you're saying you love the Vasquez move. He is versatility. He is a midfielder. He can play in other roles outside of just traditional midi. And also, he becomes the sixth academy player to sign. He's the sixth academy player to sign an MLS Next Pro professional contract. So it's also even just showcasing the benefits of what the MLS Next Pro pipeline is. So apparently we were right about that too.
Yeah, no.
Not to toot our own horn or anything.
I mean, I did say Luka Modric, but I'll take David Vasquez, I guess. But no, Renee, like we talked about this before the season. We were kind of waiting for this move to kind of happen, and it finally does. You get this 18-year-old kid who, like you mentioned, look, Southern California soccer talent is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he comes from that tutelage as well. And so now what we're getting is a kid who's going to be able to compete within that midfield. You mentioned the versatility. Is he a 10? Is he an 8?
Mm-hmm.
That is what they're going to have to find out here. But you kind of look at the depth here within that midfield. It's going to be interesting because obviously you talk about Gazdag, you talk about El Brujo, you talk about McGlynn and Quinn. But after that, it's obviously Ali. Jesus, who we did see on Saturdays.
We did.
He struggled finding some minutes consistently this season compared to last year. And then we'll talk about it a little more, but it was really cool seeing Leon Flock in the 18. He's back. And then you still have Sanders and Gabo as well. So it'll be interesting to see how David kind of fits within this midfield depth chart. But obviously, for David right now, his focus should be killing it with Union 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Continue doing that. And then doing what you got to do, because we all know how Jim holds training in such high regards. Do your work there, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, like, listen, Brendan Aronson, when he came out, I'm not saying David Vasquez is going to be the next Brendan Aronson, but when Brendan Aronson came out in 2019, like, all of a sudden, he stole that job from Derek Jones. And we saw what happened. He took over that season. So we'll see if David Vasquez can have some cojones and go out there and see what he has out there. I'm excited seeing these young kids out there.
Yeah, 5'9", good size, moves pretty well from what I've seen of the few clips I've seen. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert that watches every Union 2
right.
game. But in 2023, he started 18 of his 22 appearances for the Union 2. He had 5 goals, 2 assists. And then so far this season, he's played in 6 games with 5 starts and leads the team with 3 assists and the most key passes. So I know that's also something that we were looking at, and we've talked so much about in the attack, the Union needing somebody that can be a facilitator, help be just that creative attacker getting forward that's combining, making crafty passes, setting people up to score. Now, obviously, David Vasquez at 18, you don't know how soon he's going to be ready to fully compete for that starting role or even key minutes, but he's probably another piece, another cog in the wheel to help develop. He gets to learn under the tutelage of guys like Ali and Jose and Jack. And I think it's a really good time to bring him in under your wing and see what he can do. Why not? You know, why not? And as you mentioned, you get Leon Flock back from injury. You have a wide balance of even just versatility within now the midfield.
I agree.
And they've needed some more depth, and they need some more pressure. Somebody else challenging you for starting minutes and roles and stuff. So
I know nobody wants to see like a bunch of homegrown talent, but this is part of what we're trying to do here. Like, you're trying to like promote from within, and like that it's showing what is happening at the youth academy is good. Now, obviously, you have to wait to see if David can fight his way and get some consistent minutes with the first team. That'll take some time, but this is definitely what you want to see. Real quick to Dan's first comment there. So I don't know if you saw it. So this poor RSL fan over the weekend, he was tweeting out, he's like the odds for RSL, but he accidentally tagged the PHLY Union account.
I remember
instead of
that.
the Philadelphia Union account.
Yes.
So, like, he pretty much felt confident because the Union were one of the last place teams when it comes to possession. So I obviously giggled. I had to retweet it. And then these Union fans tore this poor kid up. Oh, my God. But that's Twitter, guys.
I saw that whole interaction. I started to jump in. I was like, nah, y'all got it. You got it, because it was funny that RSL fan was essentially saying, look, the Union have been outpossessed in every game.
Yep.
The streak is going to come to an end. And yes, the streak did come to an end, but I don't think that was because of possession specifically. The Union pride themselves on being a transition team, a set-piece team, and a team that's going to prioritize playing a little bit more direct at times versus like over-possessing. And so I did see people dragging him on Twitter.
I think he deleted the tweet if I'm not.
I don't even know. It got quiet. The notifications were popping off, and then all of a sudden it got a little bit quiet. with that tweet that he put out. I think he realized that this isn't it. This isn't it.
And at that moment, he effed up.
Yes, he definitely did. He definitely did. I know, Sean C., you're talking about the Union failing to finish prime chances as the club's DNA, and they paid for it. And I do think that's probably why, as much as, okay, great, you make a move like bringing in David Vasquez, but what are you doing now to be better at finishing? I know we were talking about it all before the show started with one of our fellow producers, Andrew, and what are the Union doing now to work on finishing? Finishing is not easy, guys, and I can tell you that firsthand from somebody that's been in that situation. We look at plays like Daniel Gazdag's sitter that he missed. It's really hard to score goals. Yes. And there's a difference between being a goal scorer and someone who can score goals. The Union don't have in their DNA, in my opinion, true goal scorers. I think Julian is that. I think Daniel is that. Those are the guys that have a nose for the goal. And the thing is, it's an awareness of always knowing, where's the goalie? Where's the goal? Where am I? Where's the ball? And how can I finish? And you're always thinking before the ball is even at your feet, if I get this ball, and you're not thinking it in this specific way, but you're always aware of if the next ball is coming to me. Like, you always had this idea, next pass is coming to me. The deflection, the cross, whatever, is coming to my feet, and I'm always ready to score. Versus people that get caught flat-footed, get caught surprised. And I think, unfortunately, we're seeing the Union at times get caught. Yeah. They're not ready to score. And you have to be always in a scoring mindset of, I'm going to get the goal. I'm going to get the assist. Versus just getting in around the goal and then, oh, good try. Like, don't be the good try team. Be the good job team. So I do feel like their DNA is built more of that, like, the build up, the transition, and there's not enough bona fide, like, put your head down and score. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to score the goal, and you're not going to be able to stop me. Like, I need more of that Corey Burke. Ooh. You know, like you think of even a Sebastian Letou. I know Daniel Gazdag did make history, obviously, this past weekend, tying Seba for the goal scoring record. And so the next goal he scores will make him the sole, for the franchise, #1 spot for most goals. But you need guys that it's not about playing pretty. It's about finishing. It's about scoring. I want to see more of that confidence, that courage around the box to create something. And you know who has it the most? Quinn Sullivan. Oh. Quinn Sullivan gives that. He's not afraid to take chances. He's not afraid to try to take people on. He's not afraid to create shots from distance and go whatever. It doesn't always have to be pretty. And I do think that's where, like, even Daniel Gazdag at times, not as much Julian, will fall short. You don't need the perfect goal. Like, a goal is a goal. It could be off your foot, off your head, off your shoulder, off your butt. Like, I don't care what it hits off of if it goes in the goal. And I think you need more of those guys. They are a blue-collar team, but not around the goal.
Yeah, but, like, the thing is, if you look around the league, those type of players that you were mentioning, those type of players make DP money.
That's the problem.
Our DP money is going towards guys like Uwa and Gazdag, right. And, you know, I like Uwat's like that. The sitter that he had. The thing is like, it's constantly, he gets these opportunities and he just cannot close it out. Like, Gazdag had probably the worst one. Like, that his bad. Like he had to just nail that in there. Like, that was the worst one. But like, before that he had like a beautiful back heel that ties up Seba, which is really cool. So I can't really kill Gazdag here today. But like, when it comes to Uwa, like, I'm just over it. Like, you know, I just got done, you know, going over the Sixers playoffs so far, and I'm like killing Tobias Harris, and I move over to the
you were actually one of those people upset watching the game?
Oh.
Because I didn't care. I already knew. I told everybody they were going to lose game 4. Didn't I literally say they're going to win? I said they're going to win game 3, they're going to lose game 4, and then they're going to lose because they're not going to win in the Garden. Like, that's it. But like, so, sorry.
No. But like the argument that people give me about Uwa is like, he does everything else so well. But like, the thing is that if that's the case, so then let's give him $500K. Like, let's not give him 2 point whatever mil he's making right now. Right. Like, that is just uncalled for. So it's just super frustrating. I know he does everything well, but when we're talking about needing a goal scorer, the dude came off the freaking bench, for Christ's sakes, off of a bye week. By the way, I don't know what the plantar fasciitis status is, and I'm saying all this. I still don't know what the status is of that. But like, when you're thinking about your DP money,
it was now he had a baby.
He had a baby.
That's what it was this time around for Uwa. The reason he came off the bench, I actually had written it down because I didn't realize that.
He missed some time.
Yeah, he missed some time in training because he just welcomed his first child, I believe it is. So congrats. to the UAs.
Of course, we'll give them congratulations. Absolutely, that's an
I'm
awesome
sorry,
moment.
second child. My bad.
That's
huge
an awesome
difference.
moment.
But yes.
And I would love to also have a union press conference on in the middle of the day, but that's another story.
Oh no! Oh, JB's coming here, guns blazing.
No, I get it. I get why they do it. I just would love to
do it after
attend
practice.
I know.
That's
I
it.
can't make
They
them
try to
anymore.
make sure they get all the practices, everything while the guys are there. So they do practice, they shower, then they go do their press conference after practice, and that's 12.
Jim's press conferences are awesome. It just feels like I'm hanging out with him. Like, they're freaking awesome. It feels like I'm hanging out with Jim.
And you're missing out on a chance to hang with Jim.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I miss
JP.
Jimmy
You're very
boy.
upset right now. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Some of us are, I feel like, in like screw it mode, which is me. You're just,
I think it's the Sixers that got me. Because I'm not, honestly, like, I'm not even mad at the result because, like I just said before this, like, RSL came into this needing this type of win because that's a huge statement win that they got early in the season, going to the Chester. Dude, that's one where you're just like beating the chest going on for the rest of the season. So I can't really be mad at the result for that. But there's certain things that I can be upset about, and that's definitely one of those things. And you were spot on your point with Corey and Seba, because what did we talk about with Hayden? Like, RSL was going to be thin at that back line. Challenge those mother effers. Like, go get a turnover, go get a counterattack going. And the counterattack really wasn't, like, I didn't think they were on point like they usually are as well. There was times, like there was one in the late in the first half where, you know, they get a turnover right before the midfield line.
Right.
They're going on that quick transition, and Quinn with a great crosser. Julian has got like two guys on him. But it's like Julian on an island. Like, where's the support? Where's someone behind him? Like, usually when you're going on that transition, there's a secondary guy right behind a guy like Julian who's in the box. I didn't see any type of help. And that's like the type of things too. But I mean, overall, this is the attack. I think it's going to be fine. But like we talk about in those crucial moments, when you're going to need a goal, I still don't feel confident about those moments.
I think the biggest thing that you're hinting at is the Union aren't even setting themselves up to be in a goal scoring position at times. There are times they do that really well. Don't get me wrong. Like you get numbers in the box, you hit near post, far post, penalty line, you've got all your different spots, someone's top of the box. But there are far too many times where they're attacking with one or two. And you can't put all that expectation on them play after play after play. You can't send just Quinn and Julian or whoever's getting forward. Go with them, because you look at the goals, even the goals you gave up this past weekend, that's in transition. That Orango makes that great pass, and you get a nice goal from Gomez. That's the ball bouncing to the feet of Alexandros Katranis, who's finishing his run. Like, finish your runs. Get into the box. Get into the attacking third, and don't stop. But sometimes, and I know we've said this before, they just remind me of the dogs with an electric fence. Like, you feel like you have to stop all of a sudden. See the play all the way through. Don't ever assume someone's going to score. Be ready for the rebound. Be ready to follow it up. And I'd love to see them do a better job of consistently hitting their marks and putting themselves in more goal-scoring positions, because it simplifies the game. It's a way to make now you get some of those tap-in goals. You get, and they've had some of those. We have seen those goals where the ball's trickling across the goal line. You just have to breathe on it to help it go in. But set yourself up first. Put yourself in that spot where you can be successful and you can get the job done. You know where you can put yourself in a good spot?
Where's that, Renee?
Rite Aid.
Hey.
That's the spot to go for a little bit of everything. It's allergy season. You might need to go get some over-the-counter medications at Rite Aid. Maybe you want some Flonase. We've got the sniffles, the runny nose, the congestion, the brain fog. I hear some sniffles in the room right now. We've got the red eyes and all the symptoms that come along with allergy season. Rite Aid has a lot of different options for you. And when you become a Rite Aid Rewards member specifically, you also get emails and alerts and updates about things such as like the pollen in your area. And they give you updates on what you should be looking for, tips that you can look to make sure to avoid so you can get some relief during allergy season. Not only is Rite Aid a spot to go for allergy medications, you can also go there for any immunizations. Okay? Allergy medications and immunizations, where you can go get some vaccinations and you can make sure to whether it's for pneumonia, bars, pneumonia, shingles, COVID-19, whooping cough, tetanus, chickenpox. I'm not gonna Rudy Gobert this read. But that's a spot that you can go to make sure to protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on all your vaccines. They've got Rite Aid pharmacists that are trained, certified. I really do have to cough now. Excuse me. All this coughing talk's making me have to cough. Specially trained, certified, that can help answer any questions you may have. Also get you in right away to be able to get all the medications or the immunizations that you're looking for. And then also over at Rite Aid, they have everything. They've got snacks and drinks. They've got makeup. They've got, some over-the-counter, some candy. Rite Aid is a spot to go to make sure you can protect your family, protect yourself, but also be able to buy any of those last-minute things. So head on over to your local Rite Aid. They've got Rite Aids pretty much on every other block, depending on where you live. Find the local Rite Aid near you or check out more information about Rite Aid on their website, riteaid.com, and make sure you can get in and get the vaccinations, immunizations, medications, whatever Asians you need, period.
Oh, that was awesome. And with that, guys, it's important to tell you that we are brought to you by.
Your read also.
I can't sing as good as you, Renee. But it's important to let you know that we are brought to you by the BetParx app. Ladies and gentlemen, get in the zone with the BetParx app here today. We are in the heart of the sports season right now. Obviously, we have the NBA, the NHL playoffs going on. MLB and MLS seasons are underway right now. So why not go ahead and check out the BetParx app? Check out what some of the events that are coming up and some of your favorite money lines, including some of your favorite underdogs. You can bet on them here today. You can win big with all-day action. And right now, win your first $10 bet and earn up to $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet BetParx. Download the app and play along with us today. Must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Well, we do have a guest, Niko Moreno, that's going to be joining us. He covers the Seattle Sounders. But before we start looking ahead to the Tuesday game tomorrow night, that's continuing from that, of course, weather, monsoon delay back earlier this season. Let's finish wrapping up our thoughts from this weekend.
Let's do it.
Because I know, Jose, in the chat, you're mentioning how the game could have been a lot worse had Luna been playing. That's the other thing I think that we had talked, and I know we talked about that with our guest Hayden Nielsen, because RSL was not at 100%. No. And the Union had a chance to pounce on them, put the game away. They had chances early on. And I know Jim was mentioning how they spoke about coming out strong, first 20 minutes, bringing the energy, bringing the intensity. But we just saw throughout the course of the game so many ups and downs. Yeah. There were sequences where they were on the attack, putting the pressure on, creating. And then there'd be sequences where they would kind of go flat, and now you're heavily under pressure. I understand that's the game. Listen, don't get me wrong. That is soccer. But what I also always like to say is you have to strike while the iron's hot. These are two good teams, and it goes both ways. When you have chances to play on the front foot, to get into the attack, and now score, you got to do it because you can't afford to allow the game to linger. I know Jim mentioned that, but that's the truth of it. The longer you keep this game 1-1 in this situation, or it's 0-0 the first 33 and some change minutes, now you're leaving it up to chance. Yeah. Don't leave it up to chance of officials or a weird bounce or a weird play. Take care of business. And the Union had opportunities and yet again missed out on it. And they have to be better about capitalizing. That's the difference between being a good team and a great team, is the team that takes pride in putting away those chances that you get. Yeah, so yeah. I was a little frustrated by that because this was a good team in RSL. And it would have been a great win for the Union to be able to show, listen, we're being one of the top teams in the West. But go on and score. Don't wait. It shouldn't have to come late in the game or on a set piece. When you have the opportunity, run a play, put the ball away. Yeah. Run a play, put the ball away. There's more rhymes for you.
Well, I think I predicted this would be a draw because I think both of these teams are just that good. And it was a lot. Listen, there was a lot of back and forth. We saw some chippiness about Glesnes and Verrigan at it in the second half.
There's a lot going on.
It was a big scrum
flying. It
was absolutely wild.
I love that though. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love a good chippy, a brawl. You had all the fans excited because of the opening of Union Yard. So they literally came in from the jump, cheering, excited. The energy carried into the field because these are, as we know, they hadn't played each other in 5 years, RSL and the Union. And you just could see the intensity. So I love the fact that it got physical because that even makes it more fun. Like, as a player, you enjoy that too.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, You know, we were talking to Jim at the opening of the soft launch of Union Yards last Thursday, and he was telling us that he was actually in Chicago when RSL was there. He's watching the game with his kids, so Jim was doing his little scouting. Well, Renee, RSL did their own little scouting because they know how the Union like to play.
Oh, yeah.
They know the Union are a physical team, and they brought that physicality. And we were making the joke, like, before the air. It was like, what is that weight room program at RSL? Some of these guys are jacked. It's like I'm looking at like NFL linebackers out there playing soccer. Like, what the heck? You can't be playing at that size there. But nah, I mean, like we know we're killing the attack here, but Renee, like, what's the difference here of this match, right? You're talking about two screamers, like the Gomez goal. By the way, someone did point out to me on Twitter that to keep an eye out on the transition of the Union. This year, it hasn't been as crisp as it has in years prior. And on that Gomez goal, that was off of a transition. Jack wanted to take a little bit of a gamble, which, listen, Jim loves that type of stuff as well, but there wasn't anyone behind to help. And so Gomez wide open, he had a clear shot at a goal. And listen, 9 out of 10 times, Andre Blake is saving that shot, so I'm not really too worried about that. But then you look at the game winner. I mean, that's just hard. Listen, as a Union fan, that was really nice to say. It was a really good goal. But like that's a difference. We're talking about two goals that typically you won't usually see. So I know we're killing the attack, but like those two goals, that was tough. As Ivan's letting us know here, we've missed a few sitters and lost the match, but I had a lot of fun checking out the new Union Yards before the game. There you go, Ivan. Hey, listen, every clip, every picture I saw, all you saw was just,
oh my gosh,
the place was packed, absolutely packed, which is really cool to see. Seeing that the Union Yards, a new spot here for Union fans to check it out. And for a big match like it was Saturday between two top teams in the MLS, it was really cool to see. But yeah, those goals were incredible.
Well, a couple things. I mean, the first goal, Gomez just struck it so well. And he struck it near post. Like Andre was actually kind of moving one way and you could see the ball coming back the other way. And he was able to adjust and get it. But that's why I think he wasn't able to cleanly knock that out of the goal. But Gomez, that's a driven hard knuckleball that has a lot of pace on it from close range. That is tough to save. Like those are the types of shots that hurt your hands after. Yeah. And you're like, oh, geez. And then on the second goal, that is just a missed clearance. Jacob Glesnes, you have to make sure that you're heading the ball, you're clearing the ball out of pressure. You're not heading that back down the middle. And there's no, and similar to actually Gomez's, if you're gonna play that anywhere in a goal scoring spot, it better be a bullet. Like it better be, you're knocking that, you just have nowhere else to hit it, but you put enough pace on it. Not you essentially passing it to him where he can take a touch and finish. So as much as like we can all look at what Andre Blake should have done differently and even the sitters that the Union missed, defensively, we have unfortunately seen them give up goals where they're disorganized or it's a misclearance. And you're giving teams opportunities. And again, with how talented this league is, you can't give people chances. They're gonna punish you for it. So that second goal, and even the first goal was, like you mentioned, in transition, out of shape. Second goal, bad clearances, and you're not matching up with the second wave. You have everyone's matchup in the box, but why is he wide open in a spot to be able to receive and finish it? It's little things. It's little things. They're fixable things, don't get me wrong, but they are little things that cost them the game. So I do agree. I know earlier it was mentioned in the chat of like, they had some things that they couldn't get away with, you know, and against a good team, against these good teams, you're not going to be able to continue to just get by. You have to go on and put the game away and take care of business. But I did enjoy the fact that from Union Yards and the loudness at Subaru Park and the whole environment looked great. The game was a really good game. Just the Union were on the wrong side of the result. But I'm hoping that they can look back on this after having a bye, shaking off the rust. Let's get back into a routine. Let's see them start gelling again. And then also getting back to being a team that's putting the game away. Score first. Don't chase the game. Score first and continue to put your foot on the gas.
Yeah, I want to go back to that first goal a little bit. Let's talk about the transition. So, listen, it's not been the most crisp this year. So when does Jim decide to put Leon a little bit into that lineup? Because, listen, we're talking about a guy who was a regular starter. And obviously, Jack's done a great job of taking over that spot. But we do know Jack's limitations, despite the fact that he has been more physical this year. But I can't lie. Like, Leon was so big on not only on the attack, but defending the transition as well. Now, I don't know what Leon's status is fully. Remember, he came back a little bit too soon last year, and then obviously he couldn't play for the rest of the season. So if you're thinking about ways of maybe helping that transition defense, be something to think about. Obviously, we'll have to see here in training, see how Jim feels about Leon Flock. But that's definitely something to keep an eye out for, seeing Leon back in that lineup.
Yeah, and I do, before we move on and start talking about tomorrow's game, I do agree. I think there's need in the midfield to have a little bit more balance. I think Jose obviously is that transition guy, but I think you need one more piece in the midfield that's going to be up and back. Like, Quinn gets forward, Ollie kind of gets caught sometimes, Jack definitely gets forward, but you still need another midfielder that's more defensive minded. But that gives you both. Like, get forward in the attack and then get back on defense too. So Leon Flack has always been that guy, and I'd love to see him get back out there.
If he continues on his track record, he was more adamant to get into the attack. If he can get back to that before the injury, we're set. We're absolutely set.
Yeah. Well, I know before we get into our guest, JP.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about one of your favorite sodas that you love to drink?
I'm a little thirsty myself right now, actually, guys. Let's talk a little bit about Olipop, ladies and gentlemen. Listen. Friday nights is pizza night, and you cannot have pizza without soda. So now, over at the Zapata household, you know what we did? We changed the Coca-Cola for the Olipop, ladies and gentlemen. They're available in so many different flavors that, listen, all your favorite soda flavors are pretty much available in Olipop. Root beer, ginger ale, Dr. Pepper. We got Sprite. They got it all over at Olipop. And it's the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients that support that gut health, ladies and gentlemen. And it has only 2 to 5 grams of sugar with 9 grams of fiber. That's what we're talking about, the healthier option to select from. And they're available now in over 30,000 retailers, including their recent launch at our favorite. They're available at Wawa, ladies and gentlemen. Not only just that, you can find them at Sprouts, Target, Wegmans, ShopRite, GoPuff, you name it. They're available at Olipop. But if you guys want to take advantage of the discount code that you see here on the screen, use the promo code PHLY20 for 20% off your next Olipop order. The discount only applies to one-time orders, not subscription orders. Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com or Amazon or the retailers that we mentioned. Take advantage of that promo code online right now. Thank you to our friends over at Olipop.
I love that. I was hosting this weekend and I had Olipop in my fridge, and my friend's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's Olipop. It's got all this fiber and low sugar and helps your digestive health. Try it." And while you're protecting your gut health, you can also protect your wallet and your finances with our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark has local roots. They are headquartered in Fort Washington, but they have 24 branches in the city of Philadelphia. Throughout the city, they're serving our community and our people right here at home. And over at TrueMark, when you become a member of this credit union, you get benefits of being a customer. You get benefits of getting the support, but you also get benefits like you're become a part owner, which means the profits are coming back to you instead of going to shareholders. They have lower fees, better rates, and a better return on savings. Lots of things that are better. Plus, they've got more flexible options for you with all the same digital tools and tech that allow you to really simplify the process of checking in on your finances. Now, over at TrueMark, you can become a member today. You can check out some more information. You can head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to be able to learn more, or to be able to even just find a branch near you. Like I always say, I pass the one on Broad Street all the time. They are easy to find, easy to get to, and they really want to make it a lot easier for you on how you're managing your finances. So again, head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY. Learn more, find a branch near you, and that's TrueMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. All right, well, we've talked a lot about last game in the Union's loss to RSL 2-1. Let's look ahead to this next upcoming game against the Seattle Sounders, as we all remember, which was delayed, paused, postponed, stopped after 6 minutes in because of the monsoon of the weather. Ivan, by the way, thank you so much for the compliment. I just read that in the chat. And let's bring in our dear friend, though, Niko Moreno, who's a reporter and columnist that covers the Seattle Sounders. He's also does work with a variety of different outlets. We've had you on before. We have you back on again, Niko. Nice to have you here on PHLY Union Podcast. Listen, last time these two squared off, obviously the weather was the biggest storyline between the two. We didn't get to see much soccer. A lot has changed since then, though. What's new about Seattle since that game that was postponed to tomorrow night's matchup?
Thank you guys for having me on again. I guess if one good thing came out of that postponed game is that I'm back with y'all. So I really appreciate that. You know, that's going to be the only good thing, because although things should have changed for the Seattle Sounders, not much has changed. And you guys are going to think it's crazy that some of the things that we spoke about at that time are still relevant today. Actually, when you guys asked about concerns, speculations, what's going on, at the time, there were nothing more than maybe just a thought.
Oh, no.
Now it's turning to a reality. And that's kind of what's going on with this Seattle Sounder team. The reality of things is that the problems in creative play have not been addressed. Goals have not been addressed. Injuries are still present for this team. As a matter of fact, last time Pedro La Vega had just gotten hurt. And about a week ago, week and a half, Pedro La Vega re-injured that same area, the same hamstring. So he's out another 4 weeks. That was about a week ago, so now 3 weeks out. So not a lot has changed for this team other than the fact that all those issues have now turned into L's in the record column, that there is this belief that this team could even turn it around. There is problems now even with some players. In the last game against DC, Nuhu did not play because Brian Smetzer said his Uber was late into a meeting. I don't know if I buy that necessarily.
Oh,
it's got to be more to that than just being late to a meeting because your Uber got stuck in traffic. So there are just so many components of what's wrong with the Seattle Sounders that fans are starting to change their Facebook relationship with the Sounders into it's complicated. And so is the season.
Niko, what's up, Parce? We got the same hat on today. Look at that. I got the Phillies though. I love it.
Wow, twins, and you're both wearing black.
There we go.
Did I miss the memos?
You missed the memo there a little bit. Niko, listen, I know it's been tough with Seattle this year. I completely get that. So I wanted to just ask first off about the last match against DC United. You got Christian Benteke a little bit. Talk to us a little bit what happened against DC.
Well, Brian decided to rotate quite a few pieces, and honestly, for a lot of reasons. One, he wants to figure out where he can make some personnel changes, maybe some formation changes, to just try something different since nothing has been working for this team this season. So he kind of moved things around. Daniel Gazdag starts in this game. Leo Chu on the left side. Jonathan Bell, a player that had gotten no minutes all season long, played next to Yemer Gomez Andrade. And although some of those changes did maybe boost specific positions, at the end of the day, this team continues to shoot themselves in the foot, and it's become a trend. They've had 3 red cards in the last 2 games. Stephen Fry in this one has to come up and stop a player because a young player by the name of Cody Baker, who played in place of Nuhu, who I just told you the reason why he didn't play, got cut up ball watching a little bit. Stroud gets behind him. He's a little too late. Stephen Fry has to come out, makes a foul because it's a goal-scoring play. He gets a red card, plus he's a PK. So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. It's the 30-something minutes, so you're already down a player. However, if there is anything good about this game, is that at least they show a little character and some fire, and they didn't just bunker down and absorb pressure like they did last week. In this time, they actually continued to try to score some goals. I thought that they were the better team in the second half, but too much Benteke, a little bit too much transition play. He basically dunks on Christian Roldan in the second goal. It's a nice ball in. Christian Roldan has nothing to do against Benteke, who's bigger, broader, better in the air, and he puts that second goal. So despite Seattle finding their goal early, it all goes back to mistakes, shooting themselves in the foot, and not having enough of a finishing product to call wins. Because in this one, again, there were opportunities. Christian Roldan has a chance in front of goal that maybe he just taps it in. It's in the back of the net. And that's just been the story week after week for the Sounders team. And they just couldn't do it.
Well, there's some similarities there to the Philadelphia Union struggle, especially their recent results, just not being able to put chances away and then getting caught flat defensively at times and having to scramble. Not to the point of a red card, fortunately, knock on wood, but definitely getting caught flat defensively. Now, as you talk about the red cards, though, there have been changes on the Union side. One of their players, Matt Rial, has been sent off on loan. Julian Carranza, the leading goal scorer, who was not on the active roster last time the Sounders and Union played, is now healthy and on the roster. Obviously, I know I was reading through the rules for the MLS. Essentially, we all know whoever was on the pitch at the end of the game, if they are still actively on the team, has to continue and the game resumes from wherever it finished. So for the Sounders right now, I noticed last game it seemed like they were more in a 4-2-3-1 versus the first time it was more of a 4-4-2 with a flat midfield against the Union in that whole 6 minutes that we saw. Have you seen any other changes in terms of roster tactics or even personnel that are different for tomorrow versus where, if you can remember back where they were lined up or who was active or healthy before?
Absolutely. So this team was forced into a 4-4-2 because of injuries at the time.
Okay.
In this one, they have their 10 back, which is Albert Rusnak, who played last week. That's the reason why you go back to your original 4-2-3-1, because Javier Arriaga was a starter in that game. Javier Arriaga is no longer with the team. He was shipped out to the Revolution. Actually, it's probably one of the things that have changed with the team is that they open up close to $1 million in salary cap for the summer window, which I know my man was thinking about. How could you fix this team, Niko? You asked me if the summer window was going to be it. That $1 million might help you make some changes there. But because Javier Arriaga's not going to be there, you do get a chance to, without a substitution, place one of those bench players into the starting rotation. And that's got to be Yemer Gomez-Andrade. He was on the bench. He's fully healthy right now, so he's going to be the one change. And in terms of the formation, I don't think we're going to see any unless there's a substitution for Albert Rusnak, who was not in the 18 in this one, but because you're bringing in a bench player to your starting 11, you do get the capability to bring in a player to your bench. And I feel like that's going to be Albert Rusnak. Joe Paulo played a lot of minutes last game. He's a guy that's still not fully fit, 60, 70, 80 minutes fit, so I don't expect him to be entered into this 18 against Philadelphia. But that's kind of some of the changes that you might see. They might stick with the 4-4-2, and then in the second half, maybe bring in Albert, go back to the 4-2-3-1. But that might be the only change.
Niko, I want to look at Seattle as far as the season goes as a whole. Listen, since Seattle's been in this league, it's been a consistent playoff team. You know, Brian Schmetzer, one of the best managers all time in this league. What is the realistic expectation going forward for the rest of the season for the Sounders?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. And it's just time for a cruel reality. And Philadelphia fans must know what it's like to have a all-star team that just goes through its era, through its time, and then it's time for a rebuild. And then you got to understand that nothing lasts forever. And the dynasty that Seattle, well, close to a dynasty that Seattle had over the last 10 seasons, 4 MLS finals, 2 titles, TCL championship, that might not come back for a while. And that time is past and done. And a lot of the rebuilds do start by letting go of your head coach. Things have not looked good. So the reality is that whether there's a change in the managerial position or not, if there are some changes within this formation, this team does not have the game-changing players to make a run for a championship. I'll be cruel and frank with you guys. They have a good team. There's good players in this squad, good enough to get this team to the playoffs, even though they're in dire need of points right now. Roldan's a good player. Jordan's a good player. Raul is obviously not at his apex moment in his career. He's getting older. He's a good player, but there isn't a game changer. You look at the West right now, all the top teams have game changers.
Yeah.
For RSL, you guys just saw Chicho Arango make a difference, right?
Yep.
LA Galaxy has Ricky, has Painzel, has Peck. I mean, all these teams have game changers, and Seattle just doesn't have that right now. So because of that, I feel like their ceiling is getting to the playoffs and figuring out how the rebuild's going to happen for next season.
Yeah.
Exactly as I say.
I know.
Game changers.
And that's what we were just talking about that and recapping the RSL game, the Union game versus RSL this past weekend, is you do see that being the difference maker. Having somebody like Chicho who can come in and get you an assist, get you that goal, or even just be a constant threat as a game changer, as someone that could put the team on their back. So that being said, though, because as you mentioned, there's been a lot with Seattle, whether it's injuries, changing tactics and formation, whatever it may be. Last two for me, the first one is, what do you think are the key areas the Union have to watch out for when it comes to Seattle? Because the Union are a team, they want to attack you in transition, set pieces. They do a decent job of getting into wide spaces and creating services. What is it about Seattle that makes them dangerous? Because despite, how the season has been going, the ups and downs of the season, Seattle has had some really good games. We've seen them score good goals. We've seen them fall just short. They're right there as a team that's really tough to play. So what are those key areas for the Sounders?
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I mean, I know that I've been hammering it pretty hard on exactly what the results have been and the reason why those bad results have not stopped and have continued to come. But yes, they have had good moments. I think that their build-up plays pretty good. So in terms of what Philadelphia can kind of watch out for, I think is their wide play. Leo Chu, ever since a couple of weeks ago, even in training, he has looked like he understands that his job is on the line and he's taking no prisoners in practice. I mean, this guy is relentless. He pushes. So against DC, he's the guy that gets that first goal. And I feel like that hunger, that necessity to show, hey, man, I realize that Jordan Morris has been playing on my side, but maybe we could push him to the right flank, is going to be something that Philadelphia can look into, because Mbaizo's a guy that likes to get forward. He might give you a little bit of space for Leo Chu to get in there. I feel like Raul Ruidíaz's link-up play, just as it was important when I talked to you guys last, is important this time. He is your most interesting player in the final end. He's going to be your creative guy. He's going to pivot and maybe push Elliott and Lowe, who I'm guessing they're still on the team. They were part of your starting 11 at the time. So he's going to push and invite them in so he could bring in those white players. Jordan Morris being a guy that is needing some goals. Maybe he's a guy that gets behind some of your back line. So I feel like the white play, the ability to stretch out that Philadelphia defense is where I would go. And also adding a little bit of numeric advantages from our fullbacks, right? So Alex Roldan didn't play last week. He had a red card. He should come rested and ready to rumble for this one. He's a guy that has great services into the box, gets into the final third with a lot of ease, but hasn't been as good as in particular seasons. He knows that. He understands that. He had a boo-boo against Vancouver. He's going to want to make that up. So I feel like he's a guy that's going to be a big factor for the Sounders on the right side, overlapping consistently with his brother Christian Roldan on that side. So watch for that.
Okay. Niko, I know it feels like it was a year ago, but that monsoon, that reason why we're playing again here tomorrow was absolutely well. Have you ever seen anything like that? Like, for us, it was crazy because the amount of rain in such a short period of time was absolutely insane. Did you ever see anything like that?
You guys don't get rain in Seattle.
Of course you rain in Seattle, but I feel like the irrigation system and a lot of the things that come out here to loom and prevent from things from happening. But I know that Philadelphia hasn't had a stoppage in like 10 years before that or something like that. I had read, because, I mean, you guys are used to the weather just like we are, but I had never seen it be that serious and put a field in that better conditions. If I'm not watching Copa Libertadores in South America, those pitches can get really nasty really fast, but not here. It had not been a while since I'd seen the rain have that much effect on the field.
Y'all, I've seen it. I've played in it. It was bad. It's very bad. But listen, as you talk about the team, you guys are a really deceiving one-win team. You look at some of your results, like the 2-1 loss. I still remember watching that. Sorry to bring that back up back in February, to LAFC. The different draws that you've had, fallen just short to DC United by 1. It's a lot of 1-goal games. It's very close, 3-2. So I have to ask, what is your prediction for this game? What is your score prediction? Who do you think is winning? I don't want to assume that you're going to pick Seattle, but what's your score prediction for Tuesday night?
Oh, no, you shouldn't. Definitely not. I'm in a very dark place in my journalism career right now. And comments have to be said. And I've been a guy that has not been afraid to ask some tough questions to Brian, to the point where he's kind of clapping back at me, asking some hard questions to players to just make him understand that I'm seeing some of the things that are not working. So, yes, there have been some good results. If we go back to that 5-0 win, the only win Seattle got was a big win over a good Montreal team where everything just happened to work. So does this team have the capability to wake up on a good day and get a result in Philadelphia? Yes. Do I believe that's the case? No. I simply think that there are too many things that Philadelphia can exploit to get ahead in the scoreboard. And as much as I would love to sit here and tell you that I think there's going to be some inertia from those last 45 minutes in DC that can be easily put into the first 45 of this Philadelphia game, I just don't really believe it. I think that the midfield is going to make it very difficult for us to transition. I feel like the defensive notion of Philadelphia as a structure is going to be difficult for our forwards. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be, again, like I said last time I was on this space with you guys, it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a physical game. But at the end, I see Philadelphia getting the result 1-0.
Oh.
There we go. 84 minutes of
Do you
soccer.
you have a prediction? You
A prediction? Whew. The last prediction didn't go my way. I think that the Union will win. Like you mentioned, the injuries are just too much for Seattle right now. Real quick, Niko, does Seattle stay on the East Coast after that DC game 2 days ago?
Yeah, they stayed over there.
Okay, so that makes it much better for them.
From the beginning, since it was announced that they play Philadelphia right after DC, they were going to stay out, practice out there. So they're going to be around the corner, ready to go. But yeah, it's a difficult game, man. And that RSL game was just decided by those X factor players that we talked about. And I just don't feel like Seattle has. And if I have to pick X factors in the attacking end, I feel like Gazdag and Carranza could do a lot more than Albert and Raul Ruidiaz at this point in time. It's just the reality of where the Seattle Sounders are at this time.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 1-0 victory. I think the Union will shut them out. I think either Gazdag, Carranza will have one in them, and I think in 84 minutes, the Union should be able to get the job done.
I'm feeling a 2-goal decision.
Okay, but
my heart wants to say a shutout, like a nice 2-0 clean sheet game. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 3-1 and Seattle found a way to get a goal. As you mentioned in the with that 5-goal victory against Montreal, it's deceiving because Seattle scored 10 goals, giving up 11, which makes it look like, oh, we're right there. But 5 of their goals this season all came in one game. So this is a team that is hungry too, though. Hungry to get a result. And having had, even the frustration of having to come back to Subaru Park, like I still could see them scoring goals. So I guess my final answer is 3-1. Let me go with that.
That's a great point. And look, when you're against the wall, when you're against the ropes, it might be when you come out swinging the most, right? And this team has finally said, yes, we're against the ropes. Yes, we need to change things. Stefan Frei called a only players meeting and trying to just pick things up. That's what is required for you to get out of this funk. Again, I don't know if you, and this is where a lot of the criticism has also gone to GM Craig Waibel, is did he do enough? Was he aggressive enough in the winter window to give this team what they needed? If you look at the 4 players that were brought in, Jonathan Bell, Pedro de la Vega, you look at Musowski. These are guys that haven't had a lot of minutes. They haven't had a lot of impact. And that's when you ask yourself, what if we had someone else? What if there would have been a little bit more aggressiveness in that first window to the point where if Albert's not in, we have somebody that's going to come in immediately. Knowing that Pedro, unfortunately, hasn't been in, was there somebody else of those likings that could be in there? So that's what the criticism have happened for this team.
Wait a minute. When was that players only meeting? Because I am curious about that.
That was before the DC flight. Unfortunately, Stefan Frei didn't want to go too much into it. Like I've told you guys, I've been pretty upfront with the players. There was a point in the Dallas game where Paul Arriola just takes down JP. It's a nasty tackle, and then he stands over him like Ali over Frazier, or favorite WWE player on top of him, and nobody comes up, nobody has his back, nobody pushes him. I brought that up to the team, and JP, who was the player that was hit at that time, he admitted, yes, we need more fire. In that particular moment, somebody should have come up. Someone should have had my back. Steph kind of mentioned it and called the people who mentioned that not knowing what they were talking about, and BS, there's a strong locker room. But that tells me that they're hearing it, that they understand it, and they're going to apply it. So I expect the teams are going to have a lot more fire, a lot more fight. They show some character in DC. I expect the same against Philadelphia.
Right. Dangerous to hear that a team is looking for someone to light the fire and get them going. Let's hope the fire doesn't get going this game, though. Save that for the next one. Don't ignite it tomorrow. But Niko, it's always a pleasure chatting with you and hearing your insight on what's going on with the Sounders. We appreciate you for jumping back on with us, running it back as we get to finally see this game get played tomorrow. The weather does look good. There's a positive. It's been nice here, knock on wood. It's been like the 70s. We don't have any rain in the forecast tomorrow. So it should be a beautiful day at Subaru Park for some good soccer. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you, man. You guys become my favorite Philly show. Friend from Philadelphia as well, that I just, put him on the loop for you guys' show. He's subscribed. I mean, he loves it, man. So just happy that you guys invited me on, man. And I'll hear whenever you guys need me, man. I'll be out.
Absolutely.
Aw, thank you for that. We appreciate your support. Niko. Thank you so much. And let's see, it should be a good game tomorrow night.
Should be fun.
See ya.
Gracias, Niko.
Make sure you guys give Niko a follow. His Twitter handle is El Rolon W. So ELROLONW for Niko Moreno. I know Ian's in the chat sharing his prediction. Make sure you guys share your thoughts on what you feel like the score is going to be tomorrow. You've got 2-0 Union. Ivan, Jose, Dan, Ian, everyone that's here, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, letting us know your predictions as we are getting closer to wrapping up the show here. I do feel like this is yet another game that the Union have an ability to put a team away early, make this a fun day at Subaru Park. People can go enjoy Union Yards afterwards. You can have a nice, fun, sunny
I don't
game.
know. It's a school night, Renee.
Whatever. We got Union Yards, school night, schmool night. We're out here hanging in Chester. But I do hope that they take advantage, and it's a rebound game too. Coming off of RSL, I would think that they should also have that fire of feeling like they fell short and left really good goal scoring opportunities on the table, and now want to go out tomorrow and beat up on Seattle as a result. So hopefully that's the case, and they can make it like a stress-free, fun game of, I like 2-0, 3-1, whatever it is. Put up some goals.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, like Niko just said it perfect. I mean, like, listen, this is a Seattle team, and like this is an important moment for their season. Like, it's either like they could turn it around here, or it's just going to keep going down south. And so I'm assuming that, listen, they played hard against DC on Saturday. It's a tough loss. That's soccer sometimes.
Yeah.
So you better hope not that they don't come with that same type of energy. But on the other side of things, I want to see the Union come out with a little passion as well. Yeah. Some of these players should come out a little pissed off. I'm assuming Andre Blake's going to come back out with a shutout. Some of those goals. We talked about some of those goals that he had on Saturday too. So I think that this is going to be a big one for both sides, but on a midweek match nonetheless. But I like our chances here. I like our chances of bouncing back.
Yeah, I do agree. The fact these are both teams coming off of a loss, but for Seattle at 13th place in the West, they have been struggling. So this is back into a corner. What are they going to do? And the Union don't want to be the team that, much like Montreal, they got going. Don't let them get going. Definitely get a clean sheet. I'd love that for Andre. Him in the back line, they deserve it.
For sure.
There's been so many, that's an area you always want to be able to take care of business, is getting a clean sheet, getting a shutout for your squad.
Yeah, the sub's going to be interesting too, because obviously the lineups are already set. So we'll see how that rotation works, because we got to bounce back on Saturday against DC ourselves.
Yes, good point. So remember, it's going to be Andre Blake and net. We're going to have Olivier Mbaizo and Nate Harrell at outside back, because this was part of when, at that point, Kai still wasn't even
that's right.
able to play. Then you have Jack Elliott and Damian Lowe at center back, El Brujo, Quinn, Jesus Bueno, and Daniel Gazdag in the midfield, and then Marcus Anderson and Mikel Ua up top. So that is how the Union are going to be rolling out their starting 11. We will see if any of our predictions come true. As always, we appreciate every single one of you. Oh, my fellow Mercer County native Ivan's prediction is a 2-0 victory for the Union with Gazdag scoring a PK and becoming the club's all-time goal scorer. Wouldn't that be cinematic to pass it on the penalty line? Like, I mean, listen, a goal is a goal. I don't care where you score from. I like that prediction. Please score.
There's a 13-year-old right now, and like Delco's going to break that record in 10 years.
Probably. So that'll do it for us here at PHOI Union Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to join us to recap the weekend's action, to look ahead to this weekend. The Union have some work to do to climb the table a bit more, and let's hope that can get started against Seattle Tuesday night.
That's right.
As we know, picking up from the 6-minute mark, a much better day tomorrow. It is a 7:30 p.m. kickoff still at Subaru Park. So for Tyler, JP, our great guest, Niko Moreno, who does a good job covering the Sounders and the MLS, but also teams like the Seahawks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Renee Washington. We'll see you back with our preview show of the DC United matchup, which will be dropping later this week across YouTube and then live again next Monday, same time, same place. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you back for more on PHOI Union Podcast.
Dude.
We all city.